Good afternoon, everybody. This is Lori at Tricatcher Therapeutic, and you are joining Conversations from the Farm. So today my guest is the lovely Jackie Rioux from Ladybug Wellness. So Jackie, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to come on board and do this with me.
Thank you for the invitation.
Well, it's meant to be fun, right? It's meant to be very casual and fun, and let's just share the word about what we do and who we help, right?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, can you tell people that don't know who you are and what you do, who you are and what you do?
I'm Jackie Rioux. I'm owner operator of Ladybug Wellness. Uh, I am a UC Reiki master teacher. I'm certified in several energy healing modalities, energy balancing modalities, particularly emotion code is one of my go-tos. Kind of hard to describe. I've got a list of certifications in my website, but I have it all as my toolbox. There's some trainings that I have had under my belt, but I don't actually use them the way they were taught. And I've got my own style of how I work in things. And there's a kind of an inside joke with me and my clients as of the last year. I was working with another practitioner last year through a certification course with Court of Atonement.
Mhm.
And we kept on afterwards, and one of the times we were working together, I said, "Well, what would you like me to do for you?" And she goes, "I'd like the Jackie special."
Okay, just give me one sec. My husband just pulled up. The dogs are going nuts. So just keep chatting and I'm going to mute myself so I can let them out.
I'm not sure what I was supposed to be chatting about continually, but okay. Well, she's taken off for a minute. And what else? Yeah, the Jackie special. And mm,
I'm sorry about that, Jackie.
that's where we pause, because otherwise I'm like, what are we talking
Yeah,
about here?
I'm so sorry. I wasn't expecting my husband home just yet. So there you go. It's his first day doing night. So
Uh,
yeah, that's okay. Anyway, where did we leave off?
the Jackie special.
The Jackie special. So what is the Jackie special?
It's me. I take all the trainings that I've had, and I've got just my unique style of using whatever knowledge. So when I tune in with a client, I just follow the energy and
Mm-hmm.
we figure out what they need to balance and release at any given time. And it seems to work really good because,
Yeah.
one of the examples that I have in my website, I can have somebody come to me and say, my boyfriend broke up with me last week and ran off with my best friend, and I'm so upset. Well, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you are. That is an upset, obviously.
Yeah.
But when we go into balance the energy, quite often what'll happen is trauma repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it, so I go into balance the energy, and what we'll come up with is an event from maybe grade 3.
Yeah.
And it's loss, betrayal, those kind of emotions and stuff come up, very
Mm-hmm.
similar things,
Yeah.
right? But they'll say, oh, that was an incident in grade 3 where somebody stole my lunchbox and ate my lunch. Well, now that trauma has repeated in various scenarios until years later when it turns into a boyfriend and your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
The boyfriend and the lunchbox is not the same thing, but trauma wise and the upset wise and the emotions that come from that, it's all similar.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're always finding the root
Yeah.
of what causes a trauma or an imbalance, and that's kind of following the energy and finding the origin of it and getting rid of
Right.
that. And
Stop. Wait. Sorry. The dog is driving me nuts. My dog. Husband's dog's outside being an idiot. We love our animals. We love our animals. Hey.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's awesome, Jackie. And Let me see what else. So if you don't mind, can you share a little bit about how and why you got into doing this work? Because a lot of people are under the misconception that we just do this stuff because we just do it, right? And they don't
Oh
understand that it's
no,
pieces of our
usually,
own healing, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, another analogy that's in my website, a lot of inspirational speakers talk about this idea that before we've incarnated and come to Earth, we sit with God and say, what are we going to do this time? What are
Mm-hmm.
we doing this incarnation? It's part of our soul evolution kind of thing, right?
Right.
So the idea is, we choose what we're going to work on. Now, Wayne Dyer, who is a quite world-renowned
Yeah.
speaker and inspirational speaker, um, several years ago, I had listened to a seminar CD from him, and um, he was explaining the same analogy, only he had said that in his case, he's sitting with God, and Wayne, what would you like to do in this life? And he says, well, I'd like to teach people how to be independent.
Mm-hmm.
And so God says, well, okay, we're going to give you an alcoholic father and an absent mother. You're going to grow up in orphanages all your life, and you're going to learn how to be independent, and then you can teach other people. And I heard this, and I'm like, oh my God, that is why I went through all the crap that I did in my life, because my purpose seems to be helping and assisting people to overcome trauma and to develop their own self-empowerment.
Right.
And so I have had experiences in my life early on that or childhood trauma. And
Mm-hmm.
then, the result of that was a lot of poor relationships patterns and low self-esteem and lack of boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've learned how to overcome all of that. And now I get to show people the key to overcoming that.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And I have to say that for those, well, I'm just share that I've seen Jackie a few times over the last couple of years, and the work that we've done has been really powerful and very much appreciated. And I'm very humble and blessed to have you in my life, even if it's peripherally at this point. But yeah, no, it's been wonderful working with you. So let's see, what else can we chat about? What else does Jackie want to share about Jackie?
Well, we've connected more recently through the small business network, and I quite
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. And um, business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've learned more than just my personal stuff, business, like how do you get out there? Like I worked at the post office for 26 years. I retired almost 8 years ago now. And so I'd started Ladybug Wellness. I was taking courses back before that. And
Mm-hmm.
then I decided to turn this into a business. But, having it as a side thing and being exhausted from work and still taking more courses and stuff like that. When it got to be retirement time and I left the post office, now where's my clients?
Mm-hmm.
This is my thing, right? And so I've learned how to clear my business energy and my connection to my business and working on myself like there's so many things out there that, oh, we'll show you how to build your business and everything. Well, those things are great and wonderful and they do have their place.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have found in absolutely everything in life, when you clear your own energy and you work on yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
that is where the miracles happen and everything starts unfolding around you.
Yes. Yes, it does.
And I have got the most amazing people in my life.
Yeah.
I have got clients that are on a healing path, and a lot of them. I was just having this conversation with another practitioner last week about how it's not about how many clients you have or how somebody can work with you for years on end. It's about your graduates. Like who can you work with
Yeah.
that you have brought them to a point that they don't need you anymore?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've got so many wonderful people that I've worked with that we're still in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Some have become good friends and everything. And, maybe they do still book in a session here and there,
Yeah.
but they've kind of graduated. And
Mm-hmm.
you learn along the way, I'll learn something else and then they'll book in again and learn some more. And
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
is just a learning path, and I'm always learning new tricks and new things and new concepts and
Oh, yeah.
expanding horizons.
Yeah. Well, and that's what it's about, right? It's like the minute we stop learning is the minute that they plant us in the ground, right?
Yeah.
Like anybody that believes that this being stagnant is helpful, it's not. It might be safe and it might be comfortable, but it's not healthy. So
No.
yeah, change happens to all of us,
Well,
right?
yeah, there was a business conference that I went to several years ago, and concept that I picked up from there, because I pick up little tidbits of
Oh
wisdom.
yeah.
Life is a challenge.
Hmm.
And so you're always in a challenge. You're either going into a challenge, you are in a challenge, or you're coming out of a challenge.
Yeah.
And, when you step out of your own comfort zone,
Hmm.
that's when you grow,
Yeah.
you know? And there's another thing from Cynthia Ocelli. It's somebody like I had followed for a while there, and she had some really good things. Um, she has a meme that's gone around about how we're all a seed, and there's things that when you feel like you're just in the depths of darkness and everything, you're a seed being planted.
Hmm.
And as you grow, then you pop out of the ground, and there you're growing, you're blooming and everything. And
Hmm.
there's all sorts of analogies like that.
Oh
Even
yeah.
bloom wherever you're planted.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's adversity forges inner strength. And
Hmm.
you know but then there's also the other part of it too, that we have a sometimes we go through all sorts of things. You develop quite a sarcastic sense of twisted humor and everything. And
Yeah.
I didn't sign up for this.
I know, right? Oh,
And your spirit guides, or your higher power or whatever, is like, oh yes, you did.
mine, I'm sure, wake up every day going, now what is she doing?
Yeah, well,
Oh.
I went through a stretch there of always taking off on road trips and rock concerts and everything, because that's my thing.
Hmm.
And it got to be a point with my kids. It's like, oh, where'd mom take off to now? It's just like, say a prayer, mom's gone. And for a while there, I was always telling people that, I've got some crazy stories with some of these road trips, and I've always had guardian angels with me. There's a lot of things in my life that I've had some guardian angels.
Hmm.
And I also went through a phase of telling people that I've got the guardian angels that are on their last trip, and if you can handle her, then you get your wings.
I can relate to that. I really can. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think that as people in general, we tend to, but some of us tend to be a little more out there.
I'm a
So,
redhead.
yeah, square pegs in
I'm
the round hole, right?
I
So, other than this beautiful work that you do, what does and Jackie likes to do concerts. So, what else does Jackie like to do?
a rock concert. This is a funny thing about me, my daughter's a yoga teacher, and I got some good friends. They do breath work, and they do all this meditative stuff, right? And I
Hmm.
do all sorts of Zen things too, with clearing energy. And but my thing is, I'm not very good at meditating. I cannot sit still.
Hmm.
I cannot get into that Zen meditative state and everything. And well, I do in Reiki sessions with my clients and stuff, but my thing is rock concerts. My meditative thing is driving down the highway and blasting AC/DC.
Well, different strokes for different folks, right? Yeah. But no, that's
Yeah,
funny.
so
That's
rock
funny.
concerts, cats,
Yeah.
animals. I love animals.
Hmm.
You
And you
get
got
on
a bunch of
Facebook.
cats too, don't you?
We did have a bunch of cats.
Oh,
It, we
okay.
had some of them disappear, which that's in my website.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, my thing is my website. I
Hmm.
I put everything into my website. That's a pastime for me. It always has been. I've had a website since 1998,
Hmm.
and I've been doing a lot more with my YouTube lately, with posting videos there and explanations and things about me. Um, the original thing with my website is, I was a teen mom, and I was a couple years ahead of my same age peers with experiences with, getting married young and being, a teen mom and having more kids and working and just all of those things, and then getting divorced. And so, a lot of my friends early on, they're like, you should be a counselor. You're so wise. I'm like, yes, wisdom comes from stupid mistakes. But I had been in a Christian private school for a couple of years there. Got kicked out because I got pregnant, but um I got so many crazy things. Anyway, in this Christian private school, and you remember Reader's Digest, they always have these little sayings and poems and
Mhm.
all these wise sayings, and that's always been my thing, just a nugget of good wisdom. And so
Mhm.
I started saving things, and I had these all in a duotang written out at one point, which my daughter has that now, little keepsake. But when the internet came along, 1998, I would take lunch hours and go to the library and type out stuff on the computer.
Yeah.
And I had my website originally in Yahoo GeoCities because this little booklet, my friends would come to me and cry on my shoulder, and I'd give them this book, and then I could never get the book back. When the internet came along, I put it all into a website in Yahoo
Mhm.
Cities and directed people there. Well, then
Right.
Yahoo GeoCities closed down. And I thought, well, I'll just let my website go, I guess. And a bunch of my friends were like, oh my God, no, you can't do that.
Mhm.
So I've been in Toastmasters, and I had a couple friends there. And between the two of them, um, we created ourladypost.com to share all the stuff that I had compiled. It was Jackie's compilations. And Our Lady Post was kind of a twist. That's been my online handle pretty much since the internet came around. And it's Our Lady Peace, but Our
Mhm.
Lady Post because I was at the post office.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, I was never really a fan of Our Lady Peace, but it's just uh, a name that one of my friends gave me. So ourladypost.com was
Mhm.
original. And then I started getting into all the energy stuff,
Right.
and I turned it into Ladybug Wellness. So
Mhm.
ladybugwellness.ca is my website.
Right.
And there is in the sitemap that, I've got over 230 pages in there now. Just
Mhm.
everything that has ever helped me has gone in there. My writings, my musings, my um, sharing other things in compilations and stuff that has just made sense. And now all my energy balancing services and all of that has been in there as well.
Mhm.
And so back in December, just in uh, this last year, I've up leveled a lot.
Mhm.
I actually think it was Tammy Tammy that you interviewed the other day. She had posted some sort of engagement thing uh, around beginning of January or so, whatever. Looking back on 2023,
Mhm.
what was your word, or what could you describe in one word? And I
Yeah.
just thought up leveling,
Yeah.
because 2023, back in January of 2023, I got on with a practitioner friend on one of his webinars, and hey, Jackie, you want to do the next one? I'm like, what? So I ended up doing two webinars, one on overcoming trauma and one on
Mhm.
grief resources, because unfortunately I've gone through some things like that. And a lot of people are losing loved ones. So I've got a whole page dedicated to that.
Right.
But that started it, and getting me out and being a little more comfortable with being interviewed or teaching kind of thing, or
Mhm.
sharing
Mhm.
online. And so in December, it came full around for me, and I did a webinar on balancing hormones energetically.
Nice.
And this is something that a lot of my practitioner friends have touched on, but
Mhm.
maybe have not taken it to the level that I have
Right.
in, hormones run everything.
Mhm.
And when you can release whatever is blocking them energetically and get things flowing again, boy, does it ever make a difference.
Yeah.
And so since I did that at the beginning of December, my client calendar has exploded. My I've ended up with a couple more or speaking engagements
Mhm.
on some of the things I do, and it's just kind of taken off.
Well, it's
So
good for you. That's awesome. That's wonderful. Yeah. Cool. Very cool.
yeah,
I'll have to come and do a couple of sessions around that for myself.
yeah. Well, you're doing all the stuff with menopause, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the things this last year. Like I'll be 57 this year,
Mhm.
and I do have a medical doctor, and he's quite amused because he knows the stuff that I do. And
Mhm.
but I've had some female issues in the last couple of years, and we're not quite sure if I'm actually going through menopause yet. Um, but for the first time in my life, I had hot flashes last summer. Oh my God.
Aren't
But
they
I,
fun?
hell no. Oh my God. So yeah, I figured out how to balance my hormones and shut
Mhm.
off the hot flashes just in time for it to get cold out.
Well, trust me, they never come when it's cold. It's always when it's like 8 million degrees outside
Oh
and you're
yeah.
just like, yeah.
But
Mine
yeah,
always work.
I managed to balance hormones with that, and dopamine and serotonin, which are happy hormones, that comes up in
Hmm.
a lot of people. And you know, the more you balance your energy, like you're familiar with Dr. Hawkins with the levels of consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the more that you release and transmute the lower vibration or negative energies, the happier you get, and
Hmm. Hmm.
raising your vibration and everything, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it all ties together. I mean, there's the hormone topic, and there's the energy balancing topic. Um,
Hmm.
but it all ties together,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that goes right back to Jackie Special. Just follow the energy.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. It's funny. We were talking a little bit about energy and balancing and stuff like that. So I haven't done any serious balancing for myself for a while, which
Yeah.
is pretty obvious. But we were at a luncheon on the weekend for the networking group that we're involved in here in Prince George. And I thought it was really interesting because I'd been on a Zoom call the day before with a group where we're doing some coaching stuff together. And then this luncheon, and both days I had different people say to me, my God, Lori, I don't know what you're doing, but you're so much lighter, you're so much brighter now. And I'm sitting here laughing this morning thinking, well, yeah, the light's different. But it hit me Saturday afternoon that really I've been a whole week for the first time in 3 years, absolutely pain free. So of course you're going to feel and look lighter, right? And
Yeah.
not even recognize that that's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, just shifts and changes like that because chronic pain, as you know, you can balance for that, you can heal for that energetically.
Yeah.
Um, but it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah. Well, that goes around. I've got an entire page on my website that I send a lot of people to in
Hmm.
understanding projected energies.
Yeah.
And for me, I had childhood trauma. I
Hmm.
had poor experiences in my life and everything. And when you have those kind of things, trauma gets you stuck at that age, right?
Hmm.
And so maturing, I was socially behind on a lot of things. I was very naive for a lot of part of my life. And as you release these energies and particularly what you're projecting out, in body code, they call it a broadcast message.
Hmm.
And they just describe it as a projected energy. But for me, what I describe to my clients, I call a projected energy like a neon sign on your forehead.
Hmm.
And so this is something that you're projecting out, whether it is a belief or a command or something like that, but it's projected out. You may not even realize it's there. And
Hmm.
that's how people end up treating you.
Yeah.
And so for me, the first time I learned about this, I had another practitioner working with me, and she says, "Oh my goodness, you have a broadcast message of mistreat me." I'm like, well, that makes so much sense because I'm a nice person. Well, why is everybody treating me like crap?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we got rid of that, and I started learning about that and started clearing myself of projected energies. It
Hmm.
has made a world of a difference
Yeah.
in how people interact with me, and my own energy, how I'm putting out. So yeah, the more you heal yourself, the more that energy is going to project out to others, and you can really see a radiance around people who work on themselves.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah. I know I love this stuff. I absolutely love this stuff.
It's addicting. I'm always working on myself. I've got a couple practitioners that I work with regularly for myself. It's energetic maintenance. We have a shower every day, to clean off the regular dirt.
Sorry, I just had to let my husband know I'm actually on a call.
Calls are fun, aren't they? We actually had I'm not going to mention any names or which group it was, but somebody was on a Zoom call and their husband streaked in the background.
It happens. It happens. Yeah, funny stuff goes on all the time, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it just is what it is. And sometimes I get a bit of grief about, well, why are you doing that now? Well, because when I booked it, you weren't here. You're not supposed to be. So as we shift and change with the schedule, right? It's like, okay,
Yeah, well, I rely on my online so much because I've got an international reach with a lot of things with my
Mhm.
clients and everything. So a lot of it is Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Um, and going through my scheduler, and I live by my scheduler now because so many different time zones that I deal with. You
Mhm.
know, I've got Australia and Italy and Germany and Mexico and I can never keep track of all their different time zones but on my scheduler, it comes through on my time zone so I can keep
Mhm.
straight.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I had a couple of years ago, I had one lady in India that I was working with for a little bit there, and they're 12 hours difference.
Mhm.
And so she would always book in at my 9 a.m. and it was her 9 p.m. It was just how it worked out.
Mhm.
And there was one time that um, she she messaged me and she goes, "Oh, we've got something going on that evening. Is there any way I could change around my schedule?" And I thought, well, I don't have a whole lot going on tonight, and it is kind of outside my booked schedule, but just let me know when you wake up in the morning, and that'll be my evening, and I can get on and do
Mhm.
your session then. And so normally my 9 a.m., I'm up, I'm showered, this is my first client of the day kind of thing, right? And she's just heading to bed.
Yeah.
Well, we got on this call and this was my end of the day. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? And she was just waking up and we seriously laughed at each other for like a minute. Yeah,
Yeah.
different time zones, lots of fun.
Oh yeah. And as I'm doing more, because I closed my office in town, as I'm doing more online and I'm,
Yeah.
partner, I'm fixing the website and doing all these changes. And I'm taking, like stuff is going on all the time. So the last I am not organized. Boy, I still have my day timer and I write it all down in the day timer. And then I'm screwed if I go to town and I forget the day timer because I don't
That's
have
why
anything in my phone, right? So
I've
now,
really had to embrace technology. I have really balked at it, but
yeah,
now my scheduler, my Zoom, yeah, I've had to learn how to use those and
yeah.
be effective with it in order to serve my clients properly, right? So,
Oh yeah, yeah. And I'm in that boat now where I'm in that transition period and it's like,
wow.
because I didn't want to do I didn't want the electronic leash, but I have it now and that's just the way it is. So it's just a matter
Well,
of
I,
getting
I mean,
everything
I
to
used to
function,
think,
right?
yeah, I was on somebody else's schedule for 26 years. We were
Yeah.
forced overtime. You're, forced on different shifts and everything. And I've had to work through a heck of a lot with just balking at that. I know I don't want to be on a schedule, but
Yeah.
running your own business, I'm in control. And,
Hmm.
that's much different that I can serve my clients, but um, you know, time time constraints, but you can still have your personal life. And
Yeah.
that's the wonderful thing with that, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we get ready here for spring coming in, I mean, yeah, and so I'm really happy that I am actually able to work from home now because and not have to worry about the office for a whole bunch of reasons, but because spring's coming and I do the work with the horses outside, but it's gardening and it's all the outside stuff, right? So it's just like, bring on this spring.
Yeah.
Or so I don't have to worry about going into town and being, for me to go into town for one session is still a half day away from the farm, which
Yeah.
is fine. But when you're here, when I'm here, I mean, where we live, we're really fortunate. Our landlords live on the property with us, and actually, he called me last night and said when my husband left because he was downstairs, he didn't know what it was. He just heard a vehicle, and so he was a bit concerned. He says, and then he tells me, I didn't know about it, that one of our neighbors has been cleaned out people have come in and they've just trashed the place and they've cleaned it out. So the bonus of me being home with all the stuff that goes on around here, and the dogs running around and all that kind of craziness, it's a matter of now at least there's somebody here all the time,
Yeah.
so that we can keep an eye on everything, which is quite reassuring.
Yeah.
But it's also concerning because we live so bloody far out. Like, why would people come out this far? Like,
Yeah.
seriously. Yeah.
Because nature,
Yeah.
that's a really good energy of nature out there.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's
But
beautiful.
I mean, I live in a residential area about over by Fifth and Tabor here, but
Mm-hmm.
I do so much online that, my son works out in camp and, he's got cheap rented home when he is home. And
Mm-hmm.
but a couple of years ago when everything was shut down, actually, I was working online so much and he'd be out in camp for a little bit and then home. And we had gone out to get groceries. And then, he's got his online things that he does, and I do my online things. And we went out to go get groceries, and he commented, he says, "Do you realize we haven't left the house in 11 days?" I I'm in everybody's living rooms when we're on Zoom. So,
Mhm.
and I'm interacting with people all the time. And I was really fortunate that back in 2019, I went on a cruise and I got to meet a whole bunch of my practitioner friends that I've been working with
Mhm.
for many years. And then I met a whole bunch of new ones too. These are people that I've actually hugged. I've been in person with them, right? So no
Yeah.
matter where they are in the world, when we get on Zoom, it's like, ah, yes.
Yeah.
And it just brings the world together, right?
It does. It does. I mean, that's probably the only good thing that came out of all that nonsense with COVID. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
that's the other thing too, because 2020, a lot of businesses shut down and
yeah.
everything. And, how did it affect you? And I'm like, well, everybody's stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
I relieve stress. Guess what happened? My business tripled.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just continued to grow since then. And it's wonderful that, there's so many people. It is kind of the new niche with,
Mm-hmm.
self-empowerment and everything and the trends,
Yeah.
which is wonderful in one aspect, but the other side of it, I do have a little bit of a peeve that, people who are just in it for the money, oh, this is the new thing. I'm going to put up a little storefront and I'm going to help people.
Yeah.
But when they don't have the experience or they don't have the knowledge, you know,
They haven't done their own work.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but the good thing about energy doesn't lie and
Mm-hmm.
listen to the vibes. I just got tagged on something the other day. People around town looking for a Reiki practitioner or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is one thing that I constantly promote. We each have our own gifts
Mm-hmm.
and we each have different things that we do. But when I get tagged on one of the community posts that, yes, I'm a Reiki practitioner, my first thing to say to people, go with someone who you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I've been tagged or I've been recommended. If
Mm-hmm.
you are comfortable with me, then yes, please do book in with me. But there are so many wonderful people around town and Reiki practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
Choose any one of them that you resonate with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually stunned at how many people are Reiki practitioners here in town.
There's lots of
For
them.
a smallish
Yeah.
community, like we're not Vancouver, right? I think we're at 80,000 or 100,000, including the outskirts. But it's like, wow, there are a lot of people that are
But
practicing.
Mrs. Takata, she used to say that, every family or
Mm-hmm.
every family should have a Reiki practitioner
Yeah.
and every lineage should have a Reiki teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes beyond just, helping others.
Yeah.
It really is a self-empowerment thing. And, I did a couple of interviews with Melissa and Raylene and Lindsay,
Mm-hmm.
who were my Reiki students
Mm-hmm.
last year. And I kind of expanded a little bit more than that. But those three, they've had their own experiences with Reiki. And they actually have a business that we were promoting through doing
Mm-hmm.
those interviews. But I've got a lot of Reiki students too who have just taken it
Yeah.
for their own self-empowerment. And Reiki is a very cleansing energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people, they take their first level of Reiki and it just cleanses your life,
Mhm.
and it, brings in opportunities and everything. And I always encourage going for the second level because that's the fun level you get to play, and
Mhm.
so many things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just brings you into a world of synchronicity and divine timing, and oh my gosh, it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It is. I'm at level 2, and I've had people say, "Well, are you going to do no, no? You know what? I don't want to teach it. I don't feel I need to go any further at this
Yeah,
point."
there's a lot of people that don't use it as a business or,
Yeah.
use it as teaching. They're just in it to cleanse their own energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
And
have to do more, and I know that. I've been really bad, but yeah, I don't do it as often as I should, and I do recognize that when I
I'm a
do.
teacher. I don't do it as often
I
as I
know,
should.
I know. The thing is, we all have these amazing tools in our toolbox, right?
But
But
the
we
cool
get
thing,
lazy as practitioners because, oh, I'll do that later. Or, yeah, I need to do it.
but the thing is, as
Yeah.
a Reiki master teacher, what I
Mhm.
have noticed, Reiki has its own wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns on its own. There's times when, I should be actually activating it and,
Hmm.
stepping into it and doing something with it. But I have found that it you become Reiki.
Hmm.
Franzi was my original Reiki teacher, and one of the things that we talk about in when I'm teaching it, that level 1 is like a 110 volt.
Hmm.
Level 2 is like a 220 volt.
Hmm.
Level 3 is your whole house has got fuses. And level 4, you become the power plant.
Yeah.
And the teacher level, you become the power plant. And I have found that like there's times when, yeah, I should activate it, but it's already activated. It's already coming out, and it's changing things in my life and changing things around me.
Hmm. Hmm.
My energy, I I've had other people tell me that my energy field, because I've done so much work on myself, my energy field has been raised to a point that I'm influencing people like 80 feet, 80 miles around me.
Hmm.
So, and the more that each one of us works on ourselves, the more that we are influencing the collective, global collectiveness.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, global collective
Yeah.
consciousness. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
we could talk about this all day. I love it. I absolutely do.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that Jackie wants to share with us? First of all, actually, let me ask you for clarification on how you came up with Ladybug Wellness, like the name Ladybug Wellness. Like, what's the
That's,
impetus behind that?
yeah, I've got a video on my website that, or my YouTube, that explains that. So I realized, thanks to Facebook memories, that apparently back in 2009, I had commented something on my Facebook that I really had a thing about ladybugs. So, and that was around the time when I was, I had gotten into taking psychology, things and that, anyway. Um, but in 2010, 2008, 9, 10, I was taking a lot of courses, both mainstream psychology and the energy courses. And it was in 2011, working at the post office, I would be so exhausted coming home from work, and I would have a nap. And when you wake up, you have that theta state,
Yeah.
that a lot of poetry and ideas and stuff. They talk about that theta state. That's where you get a lot of ideas. I
Hmm.
had woken up, and I had Ladybug Wellness in my mind.
Hmm.
And with taking all these courses, I was thinking of turning it into a business. So I messaged a whole bunch of my friends, and I said, what do you think about Ladybug Wellness as a business name? And everybody's like, oh my God, that is so you. So I went and got a business license and Ladybug Wellness. And it was sometime just after that that I had a mentor come into my life for just a short time before she passed away. But she kept telling me, you've got such a strong energy. You are going to go far with everything that you're doing. And I wasn't comfortable with my skills. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, but there was one, Ladybug Wellness, and there's one day that she just turned around, she looked at me, and she goes, it is no mistake that you got the ladybugs. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, Mother Mary's energy, when it came into the earth, it was way too strong for the earth to handle. So it came in through the ladybugs. And she said, because I'm I'm a redhead, I'm a Taurus, I'm half German, I'm a little bit Irish, I'm an ex-postal worker, and I've got a strong energy all around. She said the ladybugs were to tone me down. And they represent, red is power.
Mhm.
And a self-empowerment. I'm all about self-empowerment and self-reliance and being sovereign in your own energy. And the whole idea that we need to put on our own mask, our own oxygen mask, or fill our own cup before we can work with others. That's what I'm all about. And so that's what the ladybugs represent:
Mhm.
prosperity and hope and self-empowerment.
Awesome. Awesome. I,
Yeah.
I I always wonder, and I know you told me that ages and ages ago, but I've forgotten. And it's like, okay, well, I think it's a really how we as practitioners come up with our names. Like it's always fascinating on
Yeah.
how the circle
And
happens.
yeah, I've got some people, some of my students that have, they want to turn into a business. Or, well, what should I do for about a business name? What resonates with you? What represents you? And, set an intention before you go to sleep,
Hmm.
because you do a whole lot of soul work when you're sleeping. The sleepy time is a healing time, and that theta state when you're just waking up, that's where a lot of ideas come in. Keep a
Yeah.
pad of paper beside your bed and see what kind of things your subconscious bring through, and maybe you'll resonate with some sort of name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are the best things, when you have a name come through like that really represents you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. And yeah, so the theta state is the state that I work in.
yeah,
When I'm working with clients, that's the state I get you in, and that's the state that we make the magic happens, right? Because
yeah,
it is the creative state.
yeah,
And as human beings, we are in that state until we hit about 12 years old, when suddenly we become aware of the critical factor of life that, oh my God, who's thinking about this and what does that look like? And yeah, all the crazy stuff starts. So yeah, that's the magic state. And children are so blessed to be in that state for that long. And
yeah,
we've lost that ability. So it's only just as we're drifting to sleep and just as we're waking up, or when you're going into hypnosis.
yeah. Well, that whole, cognitive thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I've got such a humor with me. I don't have a brain filter, and there's things that come out. So I took cognitive psychology,
Hmm.
and the first day he puts up a picture on the wall there, and he's like, so what is this? And everybody's like, well, it's a dog. Well, how do you know it's a dog? Well, and we have to break down, how does our brain know that that is a dog? What
Hmm.
were you exposed to? What your experiences? How is your brain processing to figure out that that's a dog, right? So that's the whole thing with cognitive. I really enjoyed that class and breaking things down. But there was one day that he puts up this four-part picture, and he says, "Well, okay, this is a pumpkin, this is a carved pumpkin, this is a cartoon pumpkin, this is a smashed pumpkin. They're all still pumpkins." And lack of brain filter in the back of the room is like, no, actually, when you smash a pumpkin, it turns into a rock band. Whole class breaks out in laughter, and the teacher's just looking at me like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, he was so much fun. But yeah, me being a mature student with no brain filter, there was another time too. He was talking about texting and
Hmm.
how people have abbreviated so much, and I don't like the abbreviations either. I know they're quicker and stuff, but there's the way that he was talking about it, he said that it comes across as being uneducated, and his friends um know that he uses proper grammar even in his texting. So he said sometimes something comes through and it's auto corrected, and his friends tease him relentlessly because that's not his usual thing, right? So I
Yeah.
piped up and I says, you mean that autocorrect is your worst enema?
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got
Well,
another
we have to have
sideways
the
for
humor.
that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm 61 and I don't have a filter. I work really hard to make sure that I try, but
Well, I know the first time that you reached out to me, you came for tea, and we were kind of talking, and I knew you were kind of quizzing me if I was somebody that you wanted to be around or work
mhm,
with, right?
mhm.
And you had touched on something about boundaries, I think, and I'm like, oh hell no. And you're like, that is the exact reason that I'll work with you. Point. I always like that.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, and inevitably, if there's an inopportune moment in, in a group situation, that'll be the day or the time when it's absolutely dead ass quiet, and something will just pop out, and it's like, oh, how did that happen? Where did that come from? But it
It,
just does. Yeah, big oops, and yeah, I have no filter. And as I get older, I think for a while when I was in my 30s and my 40s, I was very cautious. I mean, stuff would still come out, but I was pretty cautious about what I was saying and doing. But as I get older, I just don't care anymore. And if somebody's going to take offense at something that pops out, too bad.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's my boundaries too.
yeah. And I think, I think it works with clients because the clients that come to me, some of them are so wound tight that they need that comic relief. And I swear that there's two
Oh, I
lessons
have that with my clients all the
Oh
time.
yeah, yeah.
And
Two things I know that I'm here on earth to learn, and that one is patience, and the other is I'm to supply comic relief. That's all I do.
yeah, well, I've got a lot of that through my website too. And there's actually two things that I had on Facebook, but I moved them into my website. There's a lot more in my website than on my Facebook. It's just better
Mhm.
place to share. But anybody who gets to a point of thinking, I'm so wise or anything, I keep 2 pages in there to keep me humble. One is about the horse story that I was very, very naive years ago.
Mhm.
And that's a little story about that. And there is no brain filter on that one. And the other one is about garlic. So if you want to have some laughs at me or with me,
Right.
I did a garlic detox and it was quite entertaining. That's the way I wrote it.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. But yeah. Well, I think I've pretty much exhausted anything that I can chat about. How about you?
Yeah, it was nice to connect and
So once this is done and once it's all uploaded, I will send you a link so you can use it on your page or not as you wish. I mean,
yeah,
that's the
well,
whole.
what I've done, you put up the one from Tammy and Kim, and I watched
Mhm,
those ones. And so on YouTube, where you
mhm,
posted them, I can put that into my own playlist on my or on my channel.
mhm,
So
mhm.
it'll show up there. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's just I just do it so that it's a way for us to market ourselves, if you will, so people get to know who we are and
yeah,
whether or not they want to work with us. Because as we're moving online, it's not like they can come into your office and see, you know, and
yeah.
there's a lot of people I don't, as clients, they may be lovely people, but I don't want them in my home. So, so this is a good way to
Well,
meet.
that goes back to clearing energy.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
still have the odd time that I get a client that's like, nope, we don't work together.
Hmm.
But for the most part, I have really curbed all that. The
Yeah.
more that I work on myself and the more that that whole law of attraction and the energy vibration.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. But I thank you so much for your time today, Jackie, and
thank you.
continued blessings and joy. And we'll chat. I know I'll see you soon,
Probably at one of the luncheons because
probably at one of the luncheons.
go
You
see
bet.
Ashley at Molino.
Yeah.
That'd be okay.
I
I
know.
like that you're doing the things there.
Oh, yeah. No,
I
absolutely.
didn't show up this last weekend because we had, you probably heard from Kim, we
Mhm.
had four students here this last weekend for 3 days
Yeah.
doing a reflexology training so Melissa could do her teacher practicum.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so it went so well, and she's already got people, when's the next one?
Nice. Nice.
So
That's awesome because it's so needed as well. So,
I
okay.
have to
On
be a
that,
good model.
yeah, aren't you the lucky one, right? Oh, gee. Oh, come on, go lay down, you guys. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great day, and we will chat again soon.
Take care. Bye
Okay,
bye.
thanks. Bye.